It's my pleasure to introduce to you Ashley Lang, CEO of Odobo. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And he's going to talk to us about some exciting opportunities for developers relating to $5 million out of gambling. He's been in the industry for a little over a decade, so he has a lot of experience to share with us. And let's welcome Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Good. Okay. Is that better? All right. Thank you all for coming. I know it's the last session of the day, and I appreciate you hanging around for a few minutes to have a listen to what we have to say about the opportunity for gamblers, for developers in the real money gaming industry. Opportunity for gamblers too, no doubt. I'm going to cover a few things today. First, I'm going to start with giving an overview of the industry, the e-gaming industry landscape as it is today. And then we're going to talk about our approach as to how we introduce a new opportunity for game developers to produce content for the largest gaming operators in this industry. So, to give some background to this, let me begin by giving you a bit information on who I am. I have been involved in the real money gambling industry since the late 1990s in one form or another, and that began with an agency that I ran in Vancouver that provided marketing services, software development, and affiliate program management for some of the largest operators. We were based in Vancouver, but we were dealing with Bet365, Betfair, Ladbrokes, William Hill, and others who were based in Europe. In 2004, I moved to Gibraltar and became head of marketing for a company called Mansion. In 2004, Mansion.com was the largest startup that this industry had seen. What was unique about Mansion and gave me a lot of experience that comes to play in this business was we had a strategy as a company to build everything ourselves. So not only were we going to launch a large brand in the online gaming space, but we were going to build our own back office, build our own sports betting platform, build our own poker platform, our own game development platform, our own accounting platform, and all of our own games content. It was a massive undertaking and a tremendous learning experience for me just to understand the challenges in operating a gaming business, marketing and introducing a new gaming brand, dealing with regulation and compliance, and then also just the tremendous amount of tasks involved with software development and then game development on top of it, and also how challenging it is to have to marry the two, to run a creative game development organization within a regulated gambling organization. I've also been a director with the industry leader today, Bet365, since 2008. Bet365 is currently the largest operator in the online gambling space with over 9 million customers. And I've been involved as an entrepreneur on the game development side. I have a number of game projects that I've been involved with in both iOS and Facebook games. Since 2011, I founded Odobo. It was the result of a lot of learning experience I've had in the industry, seeing the challenges from the game developer side and seeing the challenges from the operator side. I saw an opportunity to introduce a new business model to fill the gap between the two. And I put together a team of industry professionals, both from the games industry and the gambling industry, to develop a new business and a new technology platform. So let's talk about the e-gaming landscape. What began in our late 1990s has now developed into a large, a massive regulated global industry. H2 Gambling Capital estimates the size of the industry at $29 billion today, of which 54% is represented in the UK and Europe. The industry had traditionally been structured around hub jurisdictions like Gibraltar, Alderney, Isle of Man, Malta, where an operator would obtain a gaming license and from there be able to service customers from many territories all over the globe. Companies that established themselves under that model include 888.com, bwin Party, Betfair, Bet365, William Hill, and Ladbrokes. You may have heard many of these names. These companies, now after a decade of operations in that model, have evolved to be well-established, massive operations employing thousands of people, and have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in customer acquisition to build up customer bases in the millions. Casino gaming revenues is one of the fastest growing segments of this market, accounting for 30 to 40% of online operators' gaming activity already is mobile. So mobile is also the fastest growing segment and marks a big shift for these operators from desktop consumption into mobile consumption. Now, as the industry matures and the barriers of entry get higher and higher, the real entrepreneurial opportunities exist in content development, the provision of technology, and in marketing services or affiliate marketing. So today, the online gambling industry is undergoing a change, and this change is primarily on the regulatory side. We're seeing a shift from that hub model to a point of consumption licensing model. So where operators used to be licensed in Gibraltar and service customers from all over Europe, increasingly there's additional licensing requirements in each European jurisdiction. In Italy, for example, Germany, Spain, Denmark, UK. The state and provincial lotteries are entering the fray. So we have the lotteries in Denmark and in Sweden are involved in online gaming now. And in Canada, we have the Atlantic Lotteries, British Columbia Lottery Corporation, who are entering into the online gaming space. And as the online gaming operators look to navigate their way through this increasingly complex regulatory landscape, more and more of the time of the operators, the senior level management capacity, is focused on obtaining the rights of participation in various regulated markets and maintaining their compliance in the markets in which they operate. In every example, though, one thing is consistent, is that every one of these gaming operations needs great content to offer their customers. And since the popularity of the Facebook Developers Program and players playing games on Facebook, or the iOS Developers Program and players playing games on iPads, BOs, and outside of the real money gaming context, it still is a competition for online gaming in terms of share of wallet and time on device. So the online gaming industry is also struggling to keep up with offering the same volume of content to keep the customers entertained. Now, I have, last year, or earlier this year, we commissioned H2 Gambling Capital to produce this report for us, which looks at the e-gaming industry, has some statistics on the size of the current European market, the distribution of that revenue across various different products, as well as looking at the opportunity in the emerging US market. And I've got a number of copies of this report here, so I'm not going to spend a lot more time on statistical analysis of the market, but there's reports here if you'd like to pick one up from us. It's also available for download on our blog. So, the industry presents tremendous opportunity for game developers to participate in producing content for this industry, but it has its own challenges. There's, if you're going to contemplate for a moment going down the route of becoming a gaming operator, let me just give some context to that. It has a tremendous barrier of entry into this industry today. And to say it's a few $1 million to become a gaming operator is an extremely optimistic view. I would be very cautious about anyone who isn't investing in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in establishing a new gaming operation in this industry, particularly if you intend to be active in more than one market. The operators that are established have invested hundreds of millions in their operations and obtaining the rights to participate in those markets. And as we look even with those powerful established gaming operators in this new point of consumption regulatory landscape, the idea that any one operator is going to succeed in obtaining the rights of participation in every market is highly speculative at best. Even the biggest operators like William Hill and BWin Party are already being selective about the markets that they're going to focus their time and resources on. So if you want to have the maximum opportunity for distribution of your content, you're going to need to weave together a tapestry of whoever obtains the licenses in each regulated gaming market. And the likelihood that any one operator is going to be able to give you that entire global distribution, just because of cost alone, is going to be a highly speculative proposition. So therefore, I think it's unnecessary, let's say unwise, for a game developer to attempt to become a licensed gaming operator in order to address this opportunity. And I think, a good example has been in the news recently, and I think there's been some talk about it otherwise today. Zynga, even with their billions in cash capital and their 350 million plus player base, I don't know what the current statistic is on this, but massive player base, has decided not to enter the market as an operator, at least in the US. They rightly concluded that the correct strategy is to partner with established gaming operators. Those companies that have today amassed millions of players in their database, have established credibility in the jurisdictions in which they operate, have satisfied the regulators for over a decade in assuring that they can be regulatory compliant operations, and have established credibility with the players in paying on time and addressing any player complaints and concerns. So we think that the correct way to bring the two together, we have on one side game developers, like many of the companies we've seen here, be they successful social game developers, casual game developers, or existing gambling game developers that have produced content for the industry already, to connect with the established gaming operators that actively are seeking new content to offer their customers. In this chart I'm illustrating here, the operators on the right, UK and Europe represents, let's say, the existing .com market, that the remainder of that hub model where you can have a license in one jurisdiction and service customers in multiple territories. Italy is what I've used here as an example of a jurisdiction where there's a specific local licensing requirement and additional local compliance requirements, even the requirement that you establish a base within the jurisdiction. And then the United States is an emerging market. We have 3 states that have introduced legislation for online gambling, and sure enough, they all differ in their approach, Delaware being an extreme example where the only opportunity in Delaware is through the state lottery. So we're looking at how we can bring these two together. That's the big question. I think we've seen some other models introduced in this industry to present some sort of opportunity for game developers to tap into revenues from real money gaming. We'd like to propose an alternative option. The question I ask really is, if you're thinking about developing games for players on mobile phones, you wouldn't think to become AT&T. You would publish content in and have it ultimately delivered or connected to the customer through whoever has obtained a telephony license in that market. And I think we're going to see a similar evolution or settling in of the relationship between the established license holder for the provision of regulated gambling services and those that provide technology and content on top of that. So what am I talking about when I say content? Because we'd like to introduce an opportunity to open the gateway for many more developers to participate. So at one end of the example, we're looking at simple games like Grand Blackjack produced on our platform. It's the most popular game in the casino industry today, but even a game as simple as Blackjack is in need of a facelift and some improvement. So in this example of Grand Blackjack, we're offering this game to players across tablets, smartphones, and mobiles with a modern UI, new sounds, and a statefulness that allows players to pick up their games across different devices as they migrate from one to the other. So at the simple example, we're looking at taking familiar game concepts and allowing game developers to work with these existing gaming engines, and whether they're presenting that in a visual new way, or if they're even innovating the way Blackjack is interpreted and using Blackjack as the core game engine. Let's look at another game, Legend of Olympus, by one of the other developers in our development program. Legend of Olympus, or Rabcat Studios, is an Austrian-based AAA console game development studio that about 2 years ago made a migration into producing content for the gambling industry and set up a gambling division. Legend of Olympus, shown here in HTML5 on a tablet, is a myth-busting game that shows the capabilities of HTML5 in terms of sound handling and animations. And I can show anyone who's interested to meet with us later a demo of these games rather than just a static image here. We had this game at ICE Gaming Conference in London in this January, and we were showing the Flash version of this game full screen on the desktop and our HTML5 version of the game produced on our platform, and the two were almost indistinguishable one from the other, yet the HTML5 version is playable across tablets, desktops, and mobiles. Let's go a degree further and look at innovation in this industry. But it's a table game. But what's innovative about it is it's a new game concept. This is a game called Backpo. It was invented by a game developer in Australia who launched this first in a land-based environment at Crown Casino in Melbourne. And the game brings together the game rules of Baccarat with the game mechanics of Blackjack. And what this represents is a room for creativity applied to gambling game development. That doesn't mean new characters on a slot machine. You can even take popular proven game models in land-based table game formats that appeal to a very important segment of the market. Arguably, more high-value customers play table games than slot machines. So there's even room for innovation on table games. What's interesting here is that the game was produced in collaboration with us. Our model in providing developers an opportunity is not to confine you to producing games to existing game engines that we have off the shelf. Every game project that we work with the developers that are participating in our program is interesting and requires unique bespoke game logic, and we support them with the production of a new game engine that we then obtain the third-party ATF certification for industry compliance, and Backpo's a good example of that. But let's stretch creativity a degree further. Everyone's talking about the convergence of social and casual gaming. Rabcat's next title on our platform, Castle Builder, has 40 different castles, 50 different characters, emperors, kings, princesses, worshippers, 3 different kingdoms, 50 different player achievements, a royal wedding bonus feature, and a game save option that allows the players to dip in and dip out of the game as they move across different devices or different play sessions. It's completely unique game math and game logic that we developed specifically for Castle Builder. So what I'm trying to show here is that there's room for developers to flex their creative muscle, even when applying it to a core game that is a slot machine, but then building around that game mechanics that we've already seen become popular in social and casual gaming. So what's our approach? Our approach to bring the two together is that we integrate an instance of our game platform into the data center of each of the participating gaming operators that enrolls in our program. This allows us to satisfy point of consumption licensing requirements, where we have a local instance of our platform integrated with the operator that connects to the existing operator's player account, and then avails the operator, or the developer then joins our program, and in a similar fashion to Facebook or the iOS developers program, we provide developers with a GDK, which is the client-side harness that supports their game development. The developer is producing a game client that will sit within the GDK, and the GDK does a pre-flight check to find out what device the user is on, authenticates the player into the gaming operator, and connects the game client to all the server-side technology that we build. So we've abstracted all the technical complexity that's required to produce games for this industry to the platform level, and we support that server side, giving the game developer a framework to work within on the client side. The game developer is going to take his game concept and build that within our GDK. The platform handles all currency handling, so everything is multi-currency on our platform, multilingual. We have multilingual support. Statefulness is handled, authentication, network communications, everything is handled by the technology layer. And all game logic is produced by us and sits server side. So as we build the game in collaboration with the game developer, we're producing the game logic that sits on the server side, the developer's producing the game client, and then the bundle together is passed through an industry accredited ATF to certify it for publication into this industry. It's important to understand here that compliance, the industry certification, may differ by jurisdiction, and independent jurisdictions may have additional compliance requirements that need to be adhered to. Now, the next step we offer is to get that game to the gaming operators. We allow the game developer to publish the game into our B2B marketplace. So once their game is certified by the ATF, it's published into an industry app store, which allows the gaming operators who have integrated our platform to browse new content coming from all sorts of interesting new game developers. When they see content that they're interested in, they can demo the game, they can review the game rules, they can see the certificate from the ATF that's tested and certified the game, they can review the distribution rights. So as a game developer, you can control the territories in which your game content can be distributed, and they can review the commercial terms, the royalty rate proposed by the game developer for distributing the games. If the operator likes what they see and would like to offer the game to their customers, they click and install an instance of that game to their local instance of our games platform. And now the game is available to their customers connected to their existing wallet and their existing account. The operators may add additional games from the marketplace. They're under no obligation to take every game that's available on our platform. And they can all curate different compositions of game content. All the content that they license is on a revenue royalty-based model. So the operator is paying based upon the success of the game with their customers, a royalty back to the game developer. Even though the games may come from new game developers, the operator can rely on the fact that all the server-side technology is from Odobo. So even though the new games are coming from developers they may not have heard of, they know the games will perform the same way of other content they have from us, and it'll be compatible with the same suite of devices that content produced on our platform is. So now the developer through this channel has had an opportunity to bring his games to market without having to leave San Francisco, California. He's been able to access a developer's program, be assigned an account rep, learn about development on our platform against the GDK, publish that game into the industry app store, and be licensed by gaming operators and offered down to the millions of customers that these operators have. So in this way, we've given the game developer an opportunity to tap into the existing millions of players of these operators and have immediate revenue coming from play from the established gaming operators. When I say millions of customers or millions of funded account players, it may sound like a modest number, but you have to understand that millions in this context means already pre-qualified real money gambling customers. It equates to hundreds of millions of social and casual players that haven't yet qualified themselves as interested in playing for real money. But now, the game developer's game, although available with that operator, they're at the mercy of the gaming operator to promote their games. And we saw this as a weakness in the model that we could improve by offering a new marketing channel. So at the same time that the game developer publishes their game in the B2B Odobo marketplace, they also publish a profile page for their game in the Adobo Play portal. This is the consumer-facing side of our developer program and marketplace. This is an intelligent, optimized conversion path that allows the developer to now promote the availability of their games, direct prospective players to the Adobo Play portal, where they can see the operators that have licensed the game and can support the play for real money, and then click through to the gaming operators and be playing the games with an account against the operator in each market and each territory. I know I'm short on time, but can I borrow a few more minutes to finish up? Everybody all right with that? I'm running a little long, but we're good? Okay. So in this way, the developer gains access to an opportunity to promote the availability of the game that they've produced in a real money gaming context to their existing audience of players, drive the prospective player to Adobo Play, where they can see, based upon the territory that they are, the gaming operators that carry that game and can support their play for real money, and refer the players onto those operators to open accounts with the established gaming operator, and then continue to play the developer's game there. In this way, the developer earns a affiliate royalty for the referral of the new customer through this channel. So now they have a combination of their game developer royalty for the production of their game and an affiliate royalty for the referral of a new player. So what does it amount to? Together, the combination of the game developer royalty and the affiliate commission can amount to 45% of net gaming revenue. I'm just going to explain net gaming revenue for a minute. Gross gaming revenue is the total house win from the player. Operators may make some adjustments to the house win for chargebacks or fraud or, in some cases, transaction processing. These typically amount to less than 10%. So your net gaming revenue would be typically 90 to 95% of the gross gaming revenue, and of that, up to 45% is available to the game developer in participation in our program in the combination of their game developer royalty and their affiliate commission for marketing the availability of their games. So there's a tremendous opportunity for game developers in real money gambling. There's no need to wait for the U.S. market to open up. This is an existing $29 billion industry outside the U.S. The players are looking for great new games to play with the established operators that they trust, they have accounts with, and they have goodwill in those brands. They're looking to have the games delivered by those operators, and the game developers are looking for an opportunity to tap into that market. And through our model, we bring the two together. So, thank you for listening. I'm sorry for running a little bit long. I hope you found it informative. If you're interested to know more about our program, about how game developers can connect to the real money gaming industry and distribute content through the largest established gaming operators, we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. I invite you to make an informed decision as you look at your options to provide content for this industry. We think we present a strong case that the right place to distribute your game is inside the largest casinos. That's where the players are. And we present a simple format for you to participate in producing content in HTML5 for this industry. Are there any questions? Yes?
How does the math innovation work? Does the developer, do they develop their own math model? Does it provide?
Okay. There's two ways to approach that. If the game developer already has a mathematical concept for their game, we will produce the game logic for them. So we're not confining game developers to a suite of casino game engines that we've already produced. As a game developer, our first conversation with you begins around your game concept. If you're familiar with producing content for the gambling industry, you may already have a proficiency in the mathematical models involved. If not, we have a mathematician on our team, and we can iterate with you the development of a mathematical model to support your game. We then produce the game engine for that game and the random number generator the game's reliant upon, and then we put that through an industry-accredited testing facility to get it certified for industry publication. Once the engine is ready, you're building your game client against it. Okay? And Mr. Reddy.
And do you handle localization for all the different markets, or is that all developers?
The developer builds their game independent of language or currency. So games on our platform are currency and language agnostic. Anywhere language appears within the game, you use a language token, which references the language table, and we provide the translations for all the markets that our operators are offering the games to, the customers. Anyone else? No? Okay. Thank you very much for your time.